Hi, I've got my copy of Home Designer Architectural 2019 open, and your question's a little more complicated than I think you realize. So I thought I would show you some basic things you need to look at in architectural in particular. I'm going to go to Edit, Default Settings. All Home Designer products and Chief Architect for me are run on settings. And so first thing I noticed about your grandparents' house was they had unusual looking walls. Now I don't know how thick they were, but I'm going to select 4-inch thick siding, and I'm going to click on Define. And you see it's got by default this blue kind of horizontal siding on it, and it's got a structural thickness of 3.5 inches, sheetrock on the inside, which that may or may not fit your grandparents' house. You would know, I don't know. And sheathing on the outside of the framing, a moisture barrier. This is all kind of traditional structural setup for how walls are layered on most structures in North America. Okay. There are variations, of course, and that's why this dialogue exists, so you can emulate those variations. So I notice your grandparents' house has vertical siding on it, so I'm going to click here, left click here on this graphic, which opens a library browser, and I'm going to go to, looks like my core catalogs haven't been downloaded. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Let me fix that. I have to go over here to library, and let's see, install core content. I thought that was done, but I guess it wasn't done. Make sure that that's okay. Let me open the library browser so I have something to, yeah, see, it's downloading. I didn't realize it hadn't downloaded. I think I may just start this video over because I didn't mean to show you how to download core content. But if I don't have any core content, I can't show you anything. Okay, now with that done, I'm going to go back to Edit, Default Settings, Walls, Exterior, Interior Wall. And I've got 4 here. I'm going to define it. Click here. Now that the library browser has something in it, I'm going to go over here to Materials, Siding and Paneling, and let's see what kind of siding. Let's see, I need to go over here. Yeah, that looks like corrugated tin. See, is there anything like corrugated tin? Let's take a look. Look under metal, corrugated. I'm going to make this a bit larger so it's easier to see. And that'll probably do. So now I made the walls look like your grandparents' house a little bit more. Now, since you can actually go physically inspect the house, and then you can get this perhaps more accurate. Now I've got that set. Click Done. Now I'm going to go over here to the Exterior Wall tool. It's going to draw that kind of wall. And of course, it automatically puts a hip roof on it. Let's take a look at that in an overview camera. And there you have it. Now let's look at your grandparents' house again, picture. It's got a gable roof on it, and then a shed roof and another shed roof. And I'm not going to get that complicated. I'm just going to, we'll just do this part of the house and this little shed here. Okay. So I'm going to, on the keyboard, I'm going to hit Shift and F6, which splits the screen. That's also, you can go over to Window, Tile Vertically. See, there's a keyboard command, Shift F6. Just get to watch this develop. Now on this screen, I'm going to select this wall, open that wall. Let me grab the Edit Toolbar, which is normally parked down here. I'm going to pull it out. You can see that it says Edit on it. I've got that selected, and so this is for the selected object into a panoply of commands that you can apply to it. I'm going to open it and go to the roof and tell it to have a gable wall over that wall. And now we have a gable. See, now there's a gable roof there. I'm going to open this one. Uh-oh. The open icon wasn't there. That's the reason I hit it again. And we'll go to roof, full gable wall. And now we have a gable roof like your grandparents' house has. Now, also there's a build roof dialog. Let me go to this plan view screen. And I'm going to go to the build roof here. And you get this dialog. And how to create the basic styles of roofs are built into, each of these are a tutorial article on how to create a shed, hip, gable, et cetera, different kinds of roofs here. So you're not on your own. There's a lot of help built into the software. Okay. Now, let's take a look at your grandparents' house again. Now, it looks like the rafters on this house are 2x4s. You know, they're very thin, and the thickness of the roof is not very thick. So that's not exactly what we have here in this roof. Like there's gutters on the edge, and so how do you do that? Well, you go back over to the build roof dialog. I'll double click there. I'm going to, I've got auto rebuild roofs on, so any commands that I change will be automatically created. I'm going to go to, let's see, I want to, let's see, let me take a look here. See, the overhang's pretty stingy. So, get rid of this. Okay, gable overhang is 18. I'm going to make it 8 and 8. Pitch seems to be all right. Now, there's no settings in this dialog for how thick the rafters are, so I'm going to click OK. And you can see that immediately the roof's changed. And I'm going to click on this screen and then go over here to Display Options. That's under View. Where is that? Tools. There we go. Display Options. And I don't want to see gutters because your grandparents' house doesn't have gutters on it. So I go down to Gutters, Roofs Gutters. There it is. And uncheck that. Voila, no gutters. I'm next going to go to Edit Default Settings and see if there's any structure settings. Yeah, there we go. No, that's structural member reporting. I don't see any settings for framing. So, okay, we can't do anything about in architectural. In Pro we could, and in Chief Architect Premier we can, but not in architectural. It's limited in its capabilities. So the thickness of the rafters, apparently I cannot control in architectural. I don't see anywhere. Let's take a look at that. Roof edit. No, it's just the same dialogue. Pitch, overhang, materials. Okay. There's no controls over framing, so I can't control that. So, okay, fine. We'll just move on. Now I'm going to draw this little shed over here. So I'm going to go over here to the exterior wall tools and draw on. Let's see, let me look at that picture. It looks like it's right on the, well, you can't tell if it's right on to the end or close to the end. I'm going to make it close to the end. So I'm going to go to this exterior wall tool in this screen and draw a shed on here. Of course, it's snapped to the end. I'm going to manually, and of course, it automatically puts a hip roof on it because that's what it's programmed to do. I'm going to move that over just a little bit. It looks like in your grandparents' house, it's over just a little bit. Now I'm going to tell the software here, so you can see it's all the same level in your grandparents' house, but roof's a little bit lower. So how am I going to get it a little bit lower? First of all, I'm going to make it into a shed roof. And again, I'm going to open this wall and program it, tell it what to do. Go to the roof tab, and I want to pull gable wall there. And you'll see it's responding to these commands mechanically. The software is very smartly made, but it's not smart, has no intelligence of its own. It's just mechanical and reacts to stimuli or orders, you might say. Pull gable wall. See, and put a gable there. So that's what I told it to do. I didn't mean to do that. Get rid of that. Just trying to click on this and rotate it a little bit. And with those commands, that's what it's programmed to do. And I'm going to open this wall and go to the roof tab and tell the pitch to not be 8, but to be 1, 12. And bingo, that's what it does. See, now we got a shed roof there, but it's too high. Now, the setting in here for the ceiling is set to 108 inches. Now, your grandparents' house is probably not that tall. Let's take a look. Yeah, there we go. I can't tell, that could be 9 feet, and I'm going to make this shed roof about 1 foot or 18 inches lower. I'm going to open this dialog box now that I have an enclosed space there, and we'll go to the structure tab, uncheck default, and lower it to 96 inches. And then you'll see the software, okay, needs to be lower. I mean, just visually, you can tell it needs to be lower. So I'm going to make this 7 feet. That's a little bit closer. It's not perfect. And the pitch is not 112. It's a little steeper than that. So I'm going to open this up and drop the ceiling down to 6 more inches. That would be 78 inches, I think. It drops it down a little bit more. And now I'm going to go back to this wall and make the pitch 312. And of course, that means I have to drop the ceiling down a little bit more. Get 60. You have your grandparents' house to measure, so you can get this more exact. I'm just going for a visual duplication instead of exact duplication. So there's the basic shape of what I see in the photograph there. And that looks well, pretty close, not perfect. And we got a couple of windows here and a couple of windows here. I'm going to do these windows and then wrap the video up. I'm not going to do that one. Okay, so I'm going to put a window. Well, first of all, let's go to Edit Default Settings and Window. And that's how it's preset for Windows. Now, I'm just going to, now, the bottom looks like, well, let's see. It's kind of hard to say. I can't really see clearly what's going on here because this photo is taken pretty far back. But I'm going to assume that there's some lights or dividers in these windows, and it looks like these are windows that hinge from the left and the right, as opposed to have sashes that pull up from the bottom or the top. I'm just making that assumption. So I'm going to change it from a sash window to a single casement. A casement window hinges on the left or right and opens with a crank and so forth. And the height of that window appears to be, the bottom half appears to be about 4 or 5 feet, and then the upper is about 24 inches. I'm just guessing. Again, you have the house to measure. I don't. I'm going to set the height at 54 inches for my default windows. And let's see, the materials are different. Here, out of the box, they've assigned this slate color to the frame. I'm going to change that to just white. Go over here to generic colors, and I want white, just a white. There it is. Okay, and let's see. It looked like, yeah, you have sills. You got a big sill on this one, and then almost no sill on this one. Well, again, there's settings for that. I'm doing the one on the shed roof first, so I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go to the casing tab, leave the casing on. I'm going to, okay, there's no set, in architectural, there's no set, oh, there it is. I'm going to turn off sill initially. Now I'm going to place a window using the window tool. Select that. There we go. That's a little bit too wide relative, and of course maybe I didn't get my shed building wide enough, but I'm going to make this 24 inches wide. And I'm going to copy another one right by it. And this, for my shed building, this looks like it's too tall, so I'm going to open this and make the header height here, floor to top. I'm going to make it, see, it's currently 61. I'm going to make it, oh, we can do that. I'm just going to change the size.
You want French toast?
I'm going to delete this one.
You want cereal? You want eggs or
Take this one, open it, and I'm going to change it from use default to fixed glass and make it 24 by 24 and leave it at that same height. Now I'm going to take this one and let's make it 48 wide, and we'll change it from fixed glass to double casement. Okay, I'm going to take that and go to this screen and center it in the space there. Now I'm going to take this window and copy it and just drag it, the copy down. There's no way to preset exactly. I drug that up a little bit too high. Get that about right. Now this bottom one, I'm going to make it taller. the height to make it, for demonstration purposes, make it 36 high. And okay, this is not perfect, but this is kind of a basic way to show you. Now, let's say if there's dividers in there, I don't know. We'll open this one and go to the Lights tab and add some lights in it. And again, you'll have your grandparents' house to inspect and get this more exact. You open this window, go to the Lights tab. Okay. Now I'm going to take this window and copy paste it over here, and this window, and copy, paste it over there. I'm going to take this and center it on the window below. Now I'm going to go on the lower window and open it up and go to this casing tab and turn the seal on, and let's monkey around with the width. Well, I think width is just going to handle the width. Let's make it to 8 and see what it does. Okay, that's what that did. Okay. So put that back to 3.25. Okay. So there's nothing I can do from the dialog box to change the sill, but I can go over here. I'm going to go to Cabinet Tools and put a soffit up. Whoops. Select a soffit. There we go. There's a soffit up here. I'm going to click on it in this camera view here and drag that down. And we'll reshape this soffit. I'm going to change the color using the eyedropper in, I don't want that mode, I want component mode, and paint that the same color so it looks like a sill. We'll make that out. It matches the window. Now, I don't need it this deep, so in plan view, I'm going to make it a bit skinnier. But anyway, you get the idea. I know this is not exactly, with the one picture that I've got of your grandparents' house, that's not a lot to go on. I can't go over there and measure the windows. And it looks like there's a little piece up here that's missing, and I don't know. You have the house to look at, and I don't. There's a lot more I could show you about this, but I thought I'd just get you started on the basics here of emulation. Obviously, this house is probably not right, and this is not right. But if you knew the true data, then you could go over here to edit default settings and set up the majority for the correctness, and then use the local dialog boxes to make adjustments. This is just a general tutorial on how to proceed with the software that you have. Okay, hope it helps you, and good success with your intentions, and have a good day.